What is going on, you Dead Set legends, and welcome to the Ready Bang, the number one arm wrestling show on the planet. I am your host, the Aussie Arm Wrestler, and I am joined by quite possibly the next breakout star in arm wrestling. Those in the know who this man is. Those hanging around the UK know who this man is, but just lately he's starting to make his mark on the international scene. He's got a big match this weekend at Arm Sports Entertainment, Washington State pay-per-view. Talking about the man, the brick wall, James Wall. James, mate, thank you for coming on the show.
No problem, Jay. No problem. Thanks for having me on.
Always, buddy. We've had a bit of a whirlwind past 3 or 4 months, haven't we? You're starting to get a bit of a name and get some bookings out of your usual UK. You know, you're very prominent on Arm Wars, and then Knuckles Up took a chance on you, and you did the best possible thing without winning. Like, if you're going to lose, it was losing your style. You took on the number one in America, quite possibly North America. It went to town. It was a huge, awesome match. Couple of calls went wrong, so you might not have lost. And now you're getting booked anywhere and everywhere, including this weekend. You're back to the States.
Back to the States. Second time in that's 3 months, mate. Yeah. I am buzzing now. I'm so excited for it. Going to be a long flight, this one, for me. You know, it's another God knows how many hours, but I'm dead excited for this. I can't wait. Ever since I got back ever since New York, mate, it's just been, mental, really. Been crazy.
So what's it been like? Has the phone been ringing? Are you feeling like you're becoming like the hunted? You know what I mean? Because you were always the hunter. You wanted number one in UK. You wanted to take on everyone. And then you went after number one in US. And now, are you still hunting and like, oh, give me that match? Or are now more people sliding in your DMs to try and just knock you off your pedestal a bit?
Mate, from the UK, I feel a little bit like the hunted, maybe. But outside of the UK, I feel like a teeny fish still, you know, and so I am hunting constantly. Yeah, I mean, with David Egyan, this match, I don't know honestly that much about him. He's quite a sort of quiet social media. Not that many people know about him, but that could be quite. You know, I'm not sort of saying that he's maybe not at that level, but I have heard from other people that he's absolutely ridiculous. So I'm just going on that, really, so I don't underestimate this guy. And it was actually Craig Tullier that said, "Do not underestimate him. He is ridiculous." So no, I'm hunting, mate. I'm still hunting. I still feel like a newbie, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
I do. Yeah.
How long have you been in? 10, 15 years? How long?
50? No, 10 years in March.
Yeah, 10
years in March. Yeah. So, yeah, but that's like, you know, from my experience, you know, like that's almost like the foundation. 10 years, 10 good. And I know, like I say, I always say this, like, it's been so consistent over those 10 years. I'd say like the first couple of years wasn't the best sort of training. I'd say if I could have started my 10 years again, I'd have done it slightly differently. But I'd say in the last 5 years, that's been the surge, the real surge. And now I still feel like a newbie, mate. I still feel like I am nowhere near my peak. Honestly, I still feel like I could hit my peak in 5, 7, 8 years. I don't know. I feel great. I mean, I've got no injuries to date. Obviously, I pick up little tears here and there, but what's to say? I could just get better and better. Hopefully, I'm so hungry for it, mate. I just love it, and I'm hungry for it more and more. So no one will tell me to slow down. No one can make me slow down at the moment. I just want more and more. I'm just hunting. I'll always be the hunting, you know.
Yeah, good. Plenty of people in the chat. My man Nathan from Scotland, he's up and about. Hi, guys. Hope you're doing well. We all love Phil Wood. He's got nothing but good things to say about you. Through 24, he's hanging about, loves himself some brick wall. James Gillenwater wants to know a bit more about it. Mr. Peanut is in the chat. Roy Baker What a start he is. Mass Myth Arm Wrestling says, evening, lads. James was looking massive at PAA Pro.
Yeah. Cheers, Matt. Yeah, it's good to see you, mate. Yeah, same way. He's looking great as well. Yeah, it was a really good weekend. We had the Pro Nationals down in Birmingham. It was a good competition. It wasn't the best turnout, unfortunately. It wasn't well attended, but it was a fantastic competition. It was hosted over 2 days now because it's been a lot busier recently in the recent sort of months and years. So it wasn't well attended, but it was a fantastic competition. And I was there. I had a couple of pros in it, but Matt did really well. So yeah, cheers, Matt.
Oh, good on you, Matt. Good stuff, mate. I always wonder why, because there's so much. I mean, you just had the British pros on the weekends. We've got your huge matchup coming this weekend. The weekend after, we got King of the Table. So, and then December 21st, there's the major arm wrestling championships in Canada. Can't people just go and enjoy Christmas? Like, why is everything in December?
No. We train on Christmas Day. Maggie's Boys trains on Christmas Day. So if there's anyone out there that's bored and in Grantham, Lincolnshire, then we host training from 12 till 4. That's how sad we are.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, come on, it's one of those days. It's a build-up, isn't it? Christmas starts now and sort of ends on Christmas Day. Christmas Day is just a build-up, and then, you know, most people are bored, aren't they? I mean, I don't, unless you've got kids, they're okay, you know, they're opening presents and whatnot and things, but as soon as you've had your dinner, you're fast asleep watching The Wizard of Oz, and that's about it, isn't it?
No, I will fight you to the death of how amazing Christmas is. Get in there.
You celebrate. It's like 38 degrees down there on Christmas Day for you.
Swimming pool, cricket,
Yeah.
trivia. It's a big day for us. I'll tell you what everyone needs on Christmas Day is a bit of Western Survivor beef jerky. Delicious. Yeah, it is. It is. They're the OGs. There's them and another crew in the States, and I've had both of them, and they're both fantastic, which is great. Brian Pronator is in the chat, ready, bang. Sarge, how you going, Sarge? Hope you are well, buddy. And Joe Nelson, he's just loving life. He's dancing himself away, having a bit of fun. So when did you find out about this match at Washington State against David?
So straight after Knuckles Up, Tim mentioned the tournament, but he didn't mention the person I'd be pulling. Didn't mention David at that point. And then I'd say it was like a matter of weeks, maybe a month. Probably a month actually after Knuckles Up. So what's that? A couple of months I've known about it.
Okay.
A couple of months.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, and because there isn't much. The last time I saw David pull was Arizona State almost 18 months ago. It was like July last year, and he made the final. I believe it might have been against Adam Wozinski, actually.
Yeah. So that's the one I did a little video on, didn't I? That's the most recent footage I could find of it, and. Yeah, it was a great match. So I was just really looking at his style. I couldn't really compare the strength levels because, like I said, I didn't know if that was super match. Well, it was in the end. Yeah, it was a match, but I don't know whether it was a tournament format or something. So I didn't know if they'd pulled prior. So I couldn't really tell their levels, but I could gauge Adam, David's style and speed and aggression. But that's it. Like I say, that's a year ago. He could be different now.
Yeah, he's got a touch of Armenian in him, I think.
Yeah, I think he is Armenian. I've seen him training. I have seen a training video about a year ago with the guy that was on East versus West. I think number 8 or 9, and he's got huge biceps.
They all do.
But no, he looks like really proficient getting in that hook. I'd say the only thing it seemed to be like his endurance was sort of like deteriorating in the third round, and he tried to top roll Adam because he was giving up with his hook, and I could see some little areas that I could get into him there, but we'll see.
Ooh, little holes in there. What did you learn from the Craig match that's going to make this James Wall even better? Because basically Craig's number 1, and I think David's number 2 in your weight class in the United States.
I learned loads, mate, and that's, you know, going back to the start of the conversation, you know, saying that, you know, I constantly feel like a little fish in a big pond. Well, I still feel new to the sport, even though like I'm nearly 10 years in, which is a hell of a long time in the sport, in anything. I still feel really new, and I still feel like I can learn so much constantly. And I think it's like it's now because it's imagine it like as a martial art. It feels like I've spent the 10 years building my way through the belts, you know, the white, the yellow, the purple, brown, or whatever. And it feels like now maybe at like a high level, maybe a black belt, say. But now it feels like you've got to go beyond that. You know, there's all those dans to go and collect, and another like 20 years of training and pulling. So even though I'm 10 years in, I just feel so new, and I learned so much from that match. And you know, I was walking the dog a minute ago, thinking about this David match, and for me, I think the one thing that I picked up on from that was just experience, getting more experience at that level. It's not getting experience, you know, necessarily at the UK doing little comps here. These are big tournaments, going abroad, seeing how you cope with the flight, seeing how you cope with the jet lag, the press conferences, just the tiredness of this, and just the busyness of being in, you know, that environment, and how you cope with it. And I felt like, forget the actual arm wrestling with Craig, I felt that my persona and my performance as a person was really good on that day. Felt like everything was executed perfectly. Of course, there were some bad calls, but that's arm wrestling. You know, I was just happy it was a great match, and I felt stronger than him. The one thing I learned from it was that, and it'll never happen again, and I don't think you can learn this until you go through it, is all I had to do was call that bad call. I know he didn't pin me in the 3rd round, and I know that I didn't foul at the end. So I should have reviewed those, sorry. So next time, so that's what I've learned, just thinking in the moment. Sometimes that is probably the one mistake I made, was I didn't review those calls. And that could have potentially changed the whole match completely. But it doesn't matter. So going into this match, I don't know what the rules are going to be, but you know, if there is a review, then I'll promise you now, if there's something that I'm not happy with, it'll be review. I'll just have that in the back of my head. Review. I'll just review everything. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Look, I'm really looking forward to it, because I don't think I've ever, win or lose, I don't think I've ever seen you in a boring match. I think the United States are really, because it did happen at Knuckles Up, I think people were just starting to really understand it's more than just a guy from Arm Wars. It's more than just a UK guy. It's oh shit, people from the UK, a few of you guys are bloody tough, and the way you grinded and really surprised everyone, then you're screaming at everyone at the crowd. You know, you've got all these certain ingredients to really become a global superstar. And obviously the wins need to keep coming, and hopefully this weekend another one does. But is that the goal now, that like you want to have 3, 4, 5 international super matches a year? Do you want to be challenging for every country's number 1 rank?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely at a point in my career where I probably need to just pick and choose a bit carefully with matches, especially with the timing of them, because I think I've had my sort of stages of busting myself, you know, doing maybe a little bit too much, doing super matches every 2 to 3 weeks. And again, that's really good for experience, but you're not one, you know, you could potentially get injuries from that. But more importantly, it's like you're not showing your full potential. So I just feel at the moment I'm just at a stage, if I could get 4 or 5 big super matches a year, then it's amazing. Yeah, that'd be perfect. You know.
Well, what is the magic number? We all keep throwing it. You know, Levan has 2. We spoke to him yesterday. Devon's once pulled 14 in a year. What's James Wall's perfect number if all your ducks line up in a row? What would be the perfect number of super matches with your training style, training block, preparation, getting things ready for work? Bang.
I think about 4 or 5.
Yeah?
4 or 5. Yeah, I think I could manage 4 or 5 super matches a year. Definitely. Yeah. Even if they're as tough as they were against Craig, as long as you come out of them unscathed. And that was the good thing about Craig, because and that match, because as I had an injury, I had a slight injury, nothing too major, but it was giving me grief for about 3 or 4 months. So I had to train every other area possible. But it was my medial, right in my inner elbow here. And so going into the Craig match, honestly, that was in the back of my mind. I thought, I've got to give everything. I only thought about it once during the match when I was down, close to the pad, and he was holding on, and I was like, millimeters from the pin pad, and had to keep surging to get those drives. And I just thought, please hold on, please hold up, elbow, please don't go yet. It's too early. I don't care in the later rounds, but this is like round 2 or something. So yeah, and I came out of that match unscathed. So this is where I believe that I'm actually a lot stronger than I was against Craig. And also, there's been no weight cut, and I love being a little bit bigger, without a doubt. Without a doubt, mate. I mean, I weighed in at 94.4 kilos or something for knuckles up for Craig, before the match. But the next day, I was probably about 96 or something. But it's not real weight. When everyone, personally, my take on it is, if you're so many kilos heavy the next day, it's not real substantial weight. It's just hydration. It's just hydration. It's not like you put anything on. You just can't. Whereas now I'm like a solid 96, 97 kilos. And there's no weight for this. There's no weight limit for this. There's been no weight cut. So I could potentially be a lot stronger. And I've had another 2 or 3 months of training, injury free. And yeah, David could be here, honestly, for a really bad day. I'm not just saying that. Honestly, no, he really could. He really could. If I bring the mentality that I did against Craig, but I'm a little bit bigger and stronger and a bit more experienced with those reviews, he could be in for a really bad day. Now, I mean, yeah, and from watching that match against Adam, his hook. He's fast, but so am I, if not faster. But it's the way he gets into his hook. We will meet dead center. It's not like Craig. Craig's got a very unorthodox hook coming over to the side, very odd. It's amazing because it's so unorthodox. But David's is very like bone to bone with me. So our frames are going to play a big role in this, and our commitment to that. So it'll be really interesting. Really interesting.
I'll be very interested to see how much he's weighing as well, because we haven't seen much of him.
I think Tim mentioned 93 or 93, but he might come up. So he's probably going to be a little bit lighter than me. But there was no weight limit. Well, I hope there's not, because I've not got time now to lose that. Not going on a plane for 12 hours. I'll balloon up on the plane.
I'm really pumped about this matchup because it's. I think it's a really good showcase because you're showing what you could do against James. Now you're going against another top person that lives in America, but he's also got that Armenian, that European tinge to it. You know what I mean? So now, in the space of 3 months, you've shown you can go against the best of America. You can show you can go against some top class European events. So if you knock off these 2 matches and they're both as exciting as the Craig Tullier match, then it would be bloody ridiculous that a king of the table or whatnot don't come knocking on your door. Is that the progression you want to go, or are you just enjoying this newfound, hey, the United States love me, keep bringing me over?
Mate, sort of arm wrestling, being sort of all expenses paid to arm wrestle in the States or wherever is honestly, again, a pinch yourself moment. I honestly would never have thought of this if 10 years ago. But if a call comes in for King of the Table, then I would love to pull them. Absolutely lovely, love it. And I'd want to match, and I'd want to showcase the same sort of match as Craig. We want to showcase arm wrestling as well. I mean, well, put it this way: when I'm on the table, it's no act. I mean, I'm not putting on a show. That's just me.
Yeah,
that's just me and my therapy. That's just my release of letting everything out, because you can't do that painting pictures, and art and things. That's my work. When I arm wrestle and release it, that's that's what a man needs. We just need that. we need to let go, and I'm not holding back. And that's just me being. Do you know what? It's probably me being the most honest in my life when I'm on stage arm wrestling, because let it all out. So if it's more exciting for people to watch, and the match is as good as it is with sort of Craig, then that's great, isn't it? And we want it to be that entertaining. There's nothing worse, is there? Then there's a massive anticlimax, isn't there? Sometimes the arm wrestling matches where they are literally just like that, or when they're not trying. I mean, it's just like, come on. But with like me and Craig, we were absolutely gunning it, and in a way, it was a bit of a shame in that last round they stopped it with that dodgy elbow foul. Because that could have gone. I mean, I think I had him in a really bad spot, but who knows? It could have lasted 45 seconds, and it could be more entertaining. So, but that's not. It is the ref's fault, but they're hard to call, of course. There's always hard, tough calls. But mate, if King of the Table come, yeah, great. Just give me Paul in, yeah. Or Krabby. Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, I'd love that. That's maybe down the line. I'd love to face Paul in, because he brings that energy as well. I'm just thinking about personalities, and I would love to face that. I mean, he's even more aggressive than probably Craig at the table. Well, Craig wasn't. Do you know what? My match with Craig, he was probably the tamest I've seen him in matches. He was really tame. Maybe it's because I brought some aggression. Sometimes, it's who brings it more. But backstage, when me and Craig were backstage, we were like a pair of pit bulls about to go out, to fight. We were growling and stuff. We were going for it. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to pull Paul in. Yeah, again, it's that American. I don't know. Maybe I am sort of like targeting the Americans. Krasi would be a dream. Someone like Krasi would be a dream at some point, because that's a really similar style. But that's that dream of I looked at him, 8 years ago going, oh my God, look at this guy. I spoke to him when I went to Zloty in 2018, and he told me at the bar, he was like, oh yeah, I'm a professional arm wrestler. I do it full time. He told me all about it. And I was just like, oh my God, that's amazing. I would love to do that. So imagine facing him next year or the year after or something.
Wow.
Incredible.
Okay, so this kind of adds more layers to the huge match this weekend, because by beating David and showing what you can do against Craig, then the Paul Lynn and Krasi match next weekend.
Oh my God, mate! I completely forgot. I only pulled those two out because they're two people I'd love to pull. Are they actually pulling this week? It is, isn't it? I completely forgot about them. Honestly,
mate, what you need to do is you need to rearrange your flights back home and stay an extra week, because they're in New Jersey.
They're in New Jersey, really?
Yeah, King of the Table's at Atlantic City, December 15th, December 14th.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I'm back on the 8th, so maybe I'll sneak back out there.
Mate, it's right there. Just
you've got
a lot of people that peak for the after pool, so they can try and get themselves matches, and just rip both of them at the after pool.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
and then you can chuck it up on your Instagram. Say, "Oh, I just crushed them both."
Yeah, it's gonna be too easy. No, because at the pros, Rustam Babayev was there, and he lives in England.
Yes.
So I had a chat to him, and I'm going to go training with him hopefully in January for a bit. But that will gauge me a little bit on where I might be, So, because I believe that, I don't believe in a limit. I really don't. To me, the human body can just keep going as long as you look after yourself and you stay injury free. I just don't believe in I believe I can get to Paul in. I think I could beat Paul in a year. I think I could get to Babayev in 3 years. And that's what I believe. and no one will stop me.
No, right.
Believe in it.
Yeah, belief. I've put my body through hell, but the mind just kept believing that it could keep going and going and going, and I was able to do it. So see, this is what I love. I love a man with a plan. I love a man when opportunity called, you answered. I love that you are making sure that when you called again, you are ready. Because what I have noticed in my short time in the sport is people get called up to the big stages. Your arm wars, your knuckles up, your East versus West, your king of the tables, and so on. And then they expect, I've done a really good thing. Well, the phone will just ring. They'll just expect it. Where in your case, you're like, shit, okay, I'm pulling my arm wars and everything like that. Right. I'll start some social media. And I know you've been going hard on your Instagram, which has been great, and your Facebook. You're sharing thoughts and training and matches and wish lists and things like that. So I think that's been going good. You've been going on the front foot. You're like, hey, I would like to pull A, B, and C. And you're talking to promoters and things like that. So it's a really good example of what you're doing, of what other athletes should do. So if you have a breakout performance, win or lose, then it's time to work even harder, because within 2 months, you've got another match in the United States. And it wouldn't surprise me if you've already got matches booked for 2025.
Yeah,
you don't have to
exactly.
do anything to play, but I reckon you'd if you haven't got anything booked next year, I think you'd have a lot of offers already.
Yeah, that's the hunger, isn't it? And listening to people and getting good advice and just being hungry for it and just believing in yourself and pushing yourself through and always changing things up and getting through the pain and the training and never stopping after matches. I mean, that's what I've noticed with pullers the most, Jake. I think it's just from sort of like people I've seen maybe at my level, or not my level anymore, but people who I grew up with. It's just that some of them just have like 6-month breaks here and there. Now, there's nothing, obviously, sometimes you have to, people are having children, big decisions in life. People go through things in life, people, whatever. There's so many different reasons, and everyone, goes through things. But I've just always made arm wrestling a bit of a priority, even through the hardest times. You'll never not see me down the gym. You'll never. I'll just always be. I live and breathe it. So I think that's why it's sort of growing maybe at the moment. Push myself.
Yeah. Beautiful. Now, everyone watching, if you're watching now, watching a little bit later, the link to James's match is in the description. James will be pulling on the Friday night. There's 6 super matches on the Friday night. You can see Latvian superstar Tums Rosits. He's taking on Paul Talbot on the left arm. You get to see Bogdan Stoica there. He's taking on Arsen Kakatrian. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He was the one that caused a lot of stir at Arizona State, because apparently he may or may not be WAF banned. I believe it's Arsen. If I'm wrong, Arsen, I do apologize. And it was a whole big kerfuffle, all that boring shit. Caro Peterson's going to be there from Sweden. Of course, your match with David Egyan. So 6 awesome super matches. I think it's like $8, guys. $8. So don't have a coffee this week. Head over to the link in the description. I don't care what anyone says. James is going to have match of the night. Win or lose, James will have match of the night. Most exciting puller. One of the most exciting super match pullers on the planet. Phil Woody dropped his Instagram on there. If you can, let's get him to 1,000 followers on Instagram. You're getting raw, honest James Wall. I've been watching a bit of it. So talking about your training methods and things like that, and your soft-spoken voice. And then they show highlights of your training and your matches, and you're just an animal. So it is brilliant, guys. 6 Awesome matches. So what's that? $1.20, $1.18 a match. That's pretty entertaining for me. I've already got the pay-per-view. I'll be watching it Friday night. When do you leave to go over there?
Tomorrow morning. So yeah. So it's my bedtime soon. No, not yet. And then I go straight to the airport. Bogdan's flying out with me. I think we fly at 1 p.m. And with the hour difference, I think we land at like 3 p.m. because it's 8 or 9 hours backwards. So that'll be interesting. Still, I'll cope with that jet lag. So hopefully I can just sleep for a bit. Then I think there's a day, so we'll have Thursday, and then matches on Friday evening. Yeah. So
what time does it start? The Friday night live stream. Do you know what time the first match is?
I've got a feeling, mate. It's 6 p.m. Well, yeah, US time.
So that's Washington. What's Washington State time now? Washington State. I can never know what time zone now. So 12:36 now.
Oh, is it? Yeah, PM. Yeah,
I think in Washington. So then, if that starts at 6, that's a good time for me. That's like 2 p.m. here in Australia.
And I think for UK, it'll be the early hours then, won't it? It'll be, who cares? I think it'll be like
2 a.m. Hey, whenever I watch King of the Table East versus West at home, that's a 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. start.
Yeah. So hang on, if it's at 6 p.m., it'll be at 6. Yeah, it'll be 2 in the morning for UK.
Yeah, that's all right. Worth it for those guys there. So what is the goal for 2025 for James Wall, especially if you get the win? Oh, sorry, when you get the weekend, because I think you're a red hot crack of really dominating. Is it best of 5?
Yeah.
Oh, rock solid, bang, 3-0.
Yeah. Wow, that'd be awesome. I mean, the dream would be to go over there and get this done quickly, 3-0. But I do love a good war. I do love a battle, at the same time. Yeah. I don't want anyone going, oh, I missed the ready go. Or, if it stopped, it could have been a war. It'd be great to go over there and flash this guy. But I don't think it's happening. It's very difficult as well to execute those hits so fast, one by one. So I could slip up on the second one. And I think it's going inside. All day long, really, and I think it's going to be a banging match. I hope it sticks. I want to come away sore from it.
Will you pull the tournament the next day?
If we can, can you? Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, I could on the left potentially. My left's in okay shape. It's not great, but potentially I could. Yeah. If I flash David 3-0, I'll enter the comp.
There you go.
If I get in a war with David and it's just sore, then I'm not. I just don't want to slow any training down from towards Christmas and stuff, because that's another thing you see. Trying to get these gains. You want to keep going. You don't want to have like 3 weeks off. I've never had 3 weeks off, but I don't want to be too sore from that. But the goals for 2025, just there's a few things already in the pipeline. Hopefully going back out to the US in April or March or April. So I could just get into a training camp for January and Feb and get really big and strong for this match. For that,
Rustem, so that's not a bad training camp to have with Rustem.
Yeah. And then after that, who knows, really? Who knows, mate? I won't slow down with anything. So I'll be, if I come out of that match in March and April, I can't remember when it is, mate. Sorry. End of March or end of April. But after that, I'll just train and just keep promoting myself and just get ready for the next one. Wind a few people up, call a few people out.
Why not? Why not? Because like especially if you're doing it in a good way, like there's proper ways to call people out. And if you're winning, then why not? And that's how you get yourself on the bigger stages. You know what I mean? Like it makes sense because the opponent, just say you call out Paulie, you win. Tim Talmadge interviews you after the event. Hey, James, what you like? You go, I think I can take Paul in. I'd love a crack at Paul in. Whoa, Paul in and things like that. Two things can happen. Paul can say yes, but Paul can also say no. So I don't know why people get so annoyed. Oh, James called out Paul in, blah, blah. Yeah, but Paul can say no. Paul can say,
not
yet, James.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Paul can say what he wants, and people can say what they want. He's not ready for it. He needs longer or whatever. But if I beat this guy convincingly, I will. Okay, if Tim interviews me after and I beat him convincingly, I will call out Paul Lynn. That's a promise. But I don't want to get ahead of myself with this. Got to focus for David.
Oh, of course not. Of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
Mate, I can't wait. Well, we'll wrap it up there, everyone. We appreciate you all watching. Please go and buy the Arm Sports Entertainment pay-per-view. Tim Talmadge does amazing things. He runs two big, massive events in his two hometowns. He's got two hometowns, Washington and Arizona. He runs the two state championships there. Rock solid dude, and he tries to sling these guys a few bucks. He pays for it all, brings them all over. So if you get a chance, guys, it's $9. Buy the pay-per-view. Hopefully, next Saturday, I should be watching it live. If not, I'll check it a bit later. But James, mate, really appreciate your time and good luck on the weekend. Mate.
Thanks very much.
I think you get a win, and thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, buddy. Always enjoy it. Thanks for having me. Cheers, mate. Yeah.